The UFC 246 press conference between Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone is just wrapped up, and to be honest with you, it was a decent press conference. I liked it. There was some promo for the fight. It's better than no press conference, that's for damn sure. Was it the most action-packed and entertaining press conference in the world? No, because it was impossible. I think people kind of overhyped this going into it, because at the end of the day, it's Conor McGregor and Donald Cerrone. You know? My favourite press conferences, and the ones that are always crazy and amazing, and are the best press conferences, are when there's everyone on stage. All from different fights, all from different divisions, and there's a lot of interdimensional threats and conversations going on. Those are my favourite press conferences. So for this one, for a press conference between two guys, it was pretty interesting. Two guys and Dana White. You know? It was a pretty interesting press conference, honestly. I didn't know what I was going to expect from it. I knew they were going to be somewhat friendly, which they were. They were trading jokes back and forth about, oh, I like your suit. There will be blood, but it will be good blood, and not bad blood, or whatever he said at one point. There were some good lines in there from Conor McGregor. He seems very humbleized a little bit, but very jokey at the same time. But he is still retaining the fact there was an underlining tone of aggression that I kind of predicted was going to be there before the press conference started. I said it was going to be somewhat jokey, but there was going to have a message behind the jokes, just to remind everyone we are still going to try and kill each other, though. You know, like there's some of that in the game. Like it's very rare you'll get people just completely being nice to each other without some kind of death threat in there underneath what they're saying. So like Conor McGregor would be like, you know yourself, Donald, and then I'm going to kill you though in the first round by KO. It's going to be a KO. And he'll be like, oh, that's a nice suit, but I'm going to KO you tomorrow. Just to reaffirm that they are still fighting, and they are still trying to build some kind of tension between the pair of them. And to be honest with you, it's the first time I've seen Donald Cerrone versus Conor McGregor square up. I've never seen them two people square up before, and I was surprised. I don't know if it's something that I think people need to take a little zoom in on Conor McGregor's feet when he's squaring up to people, because he's not supposed to be that big. And every time I see him next to someone, he seems to be weirdly tall. Like when he first walked on, he came in behind Donald Cerrone, and I was like, they're like the same fucking size right now. Like, what is... someone needs to check if Conor McGregor's on his tiptoes, because they're supposed to be 4 inches apart. And then at the end, you kind of saw a little bit of a height difference. But to be honest with you, I feel like the size kind of talks right now are kind of... There's no real point in them, because they're pretty similar size-wise. Like, I thought Donald Cerrone was going to have a pretty considerable towering over of him. But it just shows you know, don't underestimate 4 inches. You know? A motto that Asian people could learn a lot from. You know, you don't underestimate that shit, because that can go to work sometimes. And there's some male empowerment for you. But speaking of the fight, the height advantage for Donald Cerrone, I didn't see it too much. I think it's just the way that Conor McGregor stands, honestly. I think when we get into the fight, and Donald Cerrone's standing really tall, and Conor McGregor's sort of wide-stanced, lowering his base a little bit, I think then we're going to see the size advantage sort of go towards Donald Cerrone. He's going to look like the much bigger guy. But to be honest with you, with them both squaring up with each other, they don't look like two different divisions. You know, they just look like a short, stocky guy for a division, and then a slightly bigger, taller guy for a division. It wasn't as massive as I expected, but what I did like in the press conference was the tone that came. Like, I knew there was going to be a question about the fucking allegations. There was no way this press conference went ahead and got to the end before someone crept in with a fucking allegation comment. I was waiting for it the entire time. Okay, I was watching it back and I was like, well, when's someone going to say it? And then eventually, there was like a joke that happened, and everyone was laughing and joking around, and even Dane had a little chuckle, and then, hey, rapist, about that thing that happened. You know, someone had to bring it up, and then everyone just kind of shut him down by booing him, because I don't know what they're expecting Conor McGregor to answer. Like, he can't answer. Like, that's how law works. So, it's not like, oh, well, I couldn't tell you backstage because of legal reasons. I couldn't tell you when you did my private interview because of legal reasons. I couldn't tell you in this interview because of legal reasons. But now I'm on stage in front of a crowd. There's no law, and I'm just going to tell you everything that's going on. I don't understand what sort of answer they're going to get out of him. You're not going to sit there and go, yes, I raped her, or no, I didn't, because, I mean, there's no real point defending yourself. You know? Like, no one's going to come out there and say that they did it. So that, like, words are useless, and I think that Conor McGregor is playing the right approach by saying that we just need to be patient with these things and wait for them to come to fruition, because nothing Conor McGregor says right now, until he is deemed innocent, is going to matter. And he knows that. So now he's just ignoring it until his innocence is revealed. Fingers crossed. We'll see. I think he's innocent, to be honest with you. The way he's acting, I think he's quite innocent in the whole situation. And his other one got cleared up as well. It wasn't his baby. Things are starting to turn around in Conor McGregor's career a little bit. And I think this press conference was a good win back of his fans. Because I'll be honest with you guys, I don't think the fan deficit that people keep talking about for Conor McGregor is real. I'm watching the like ratios. I thought there was going to be a few thousand dislikes on every single thing. And it was going to be kind of like my video sometimes when I make a controversial video. It was going to kind of be bipolar with the like and dislike ratio. But to be honest with you, overwhelming support for Conor McGregor. People laughing at what some of his quotes that he was coming out with, like the sniff the jock strap style. You know, he's still got his little one-liners to chuck away every now and again. It's still Conor McGregor, just... This is like a Nate Diaz 202 Conor McGregor. You know, he's come back. Last time he thought he had a loss, and it was a bad loss. Now he's come back to correct it. It's a little bit more serious, but because he's not fighting Nate Diaz and he's fighting Donald Cerrone, he's more joking, which I liked. Donald Cerrone was thanking him for making it at 170. Donald Cerrone is enjoying the fact that there's no mental warfare here, because I know for a fact, listen, as much as Donald Cerrone tries to disprove the statement of people that shit talk him, kind of rattle him a little bit, they do, you know? And even people said, oh, well, that's not true. Look at the Matt Brown fight. Matt Brown was mean-mugging him and all this kind of shit. And, you know, that kind of happened. Look at the Alexander Hernandez fight and the Mike Perry fight. You got to realise that until Donald Cerrone won those fights, he was losing. Alexander Hernandez fight was a better performance, but he was losing those initial exchanges. Like, the people that talk shit to him, like Matt Brown dropped him and hurt him in that fight, if you remember. Had Donald Cerrone in all kinds of trouble in multiple occasions. You know, rocked him at one point, dropped him at the end of the round in the other one. Like, Donald Cerrone does have some problems with trash talking now and again. You know? And I feel like Conor McGregor's taking it back. He's trying to kind of come back with a clean sheet. I can imagine if he wins this one and moves on to do more press conferences, he's going to be open to talk a little bit more shit now that he's just beaten Donald Cerrone. But yeah, I don't think Donald Cerrone's going to be shooting takedowns. I really don't. I really don't. Okay, there's just a vibe about it. The way he talked so much about let's just make a show and all this, it kind of makes me feel like he doesn't even want to fucking win. I don't know what it is with Donald Cerrone sometimes, but the way he's talking at this press conference, like, you're going to win, right? You want to win this one, Donald. Let's get in there and actually give it a good performance. Don't just say, oh yeah, give it a show, man. Yeah. Yeah, get my head knocked off in the first round. Yeah, man, yeah. Like, there's just... Come to win. I want to see Conor McGregor go through some kind of adversity here. You know? Because as much as I would love to see Conor McGregor come back and get a vicious KO, I think it would be better for Conor McGregor to show up against a Donald Cerrone who's there to fucking win. You know? And a Donald Cerrone who may land a few kicks and a few jabs before we get to see Conor McGregor win. I want Conor McGregor to win. I don't want it to look too easy for him. You know? I want Donald Cerrone to put up a bit of a fight for Donald Cerrone's sake. So hopefully his mind is switched on. There's a lot to take away from the press conference, guys. There really is. And not enough to talk about in one video. But enough to talk about in my live stream later on today. At 8 PM BST. Or 7:30 PM BST. Whatever time I decide to go live in the evening, in UK time, I'll go live and talk about this kind of shit. So tune in if you can. But Jesus, that was a nice press conference. There was a good lines back and forth. They're talking about their suits. You might have outdone me here with his suit and shit. Like Donald Cerrone was... All of a sudden, Donald Cerrone was on the jury for Conor McGregor, his defense lawyer or something. Like, the guy asked him a question about the rape allegations, and Donald Cerrone's like, hey, man! Stop that! Don't talk about McGregor like that, and all this. Like, don't talk about his outside stuff. Like, it was very weird to see people that cool with each other. Especially when it's Conor McGregor. Like, I had to adjust. I went in there sort of like, oh shit, here we go. I was sitting on the toilet taking a big old shit. As per usual, watching the press conference with my earphones in, kind of rubbing my hands together, thinking about what's going to go down, what are they going to say to each other. I thought Conor McGregor would be a bit more insulting, to like say something like, listen, Donald, you're coming off 2 KO losses, like, it's going to be a bad night for you, you know this, like it, but not really aggressive. But he didn't. He was very respectful, and it was a shock. I had to adjust midway through to be like, oh, it's okay. Oh, it's It's going to be fine. And then we just sat there and had a laugh for a little bit. I don't mind it. It's a nice little change. And there wasn't going to be a much shit talking anyway. I feel like people went into this with like, yeah, it's Conor McGregor's press conference. But if you realise in the career, I'm going to quickly cram this last little nugget in. McGregor doesn't start shit talk. I want you guys to know that. And I feel like that's something that I might make a separate video about. But when you think about things, Conor McGregor doesn't start shit talk. Never in his career. If you look through Conor McGregor's career, and if I can find Conor McGregor's career, he's never started shit talking with anyone. He came into the UFC and talked very highly of himself. Okay? Talked very highly of himself and said he was going to beat everyone and do it in dominant fashion. And everyone came at him. If you remember, Chad Mendes started the whole shit talk with him. Eddie Alvarez, at the press conference with Eddie Alvarez, Conor McGregor was sitting back at the start, nice and relaxed, and said, I have nothing against Edward. That was his first words. Look, I have nothing against Edward. Yeah. And then Eddie Alvarez was like, be careful what you say, be careful. And then started the whole shit-talking saga, you know? Aldo was talking shit about McGregor, but before McGregor even fought Chad Mendes, Aldo was talking shit about McGregor. McGregor was leading up to his fight with Dennis Seaver, and Aldo was calling him a clown and all this. I feel like, yeah, if Donald Cerrone would have went out there and poked a little jab at McGregor about a couple assault charges, a couple rape allegations, a couple losses in his career, I'm sure McGregor would have fired back and it would have been an all-out war. But Cerrone was just respectful. So that's what we get, respectful McGregor. Same way it was around Max Holloway. Max Holloway's a guy who never talked shit to him. That's about it. Nothing really happened. They were very respectful, back and forth. No bad blood. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Click that button there. Goodbye. Those are my reactions. I don't know how much I even talked about there, but hopefully it was good enough to listen to. Okay? I'm sorry.